Hi, sweeties. How are you doing? Welcome to Naya cimnanya, and thank you all so much for all the love and support. Hope you all are doing great. So today we'll be talking something very important. I love the fact that this is coming from a colored person, not from a black person, because black people have been screaming this for a longer time, and a lot of people said that black people are not industrious, black people are lazy, and all of that. But then, how do you tell people that black people are lazy when the system is designed to frustrate them, their hard work and ability and the rest of it? And then when you look at it, you find out that systemic racism has always been there to frustrate them and make them even work way harder than they are supposed to do. And if you know already, you should understand that black people work like double, like I don't know how to explain, but times what their colored counterpart in order to meet up with them. I don't know if that makes sense to you, but that is how it's been. And then with their privilege and everything, they sit back and make you feel like black people are lazy. And then why they are saying black people are lazy, they are using immigrants to take away job from black people. I don't think there is anything wrong in people advocating for equal pay for the job they do. But then when black people advocate for a better pay, they come out to say that they are lazy, that they do not want to work, and then use immigrants to fill up their positions. How do you people do things like this and then still call it lazy? You know what? Let's get into this video.
My testimony in how I, a Gentile white male who grew up in a conservative evangelical community, how I became awoken to who the true chosen people of God are, the true Hebrew Israelites really are. And to share the entire story, I will say that question. And he said, my son, they are my true chosen children. They are the true chosen people of me. And to back up that voice, he led me to Deuteronomy chapter 28, where in the first time in my life, those words bounced off and penetrated my heart, and I wept when I finally, after all these years, got an understanding to why our so-called black brothers and sisters in this country and around the world are so mistreated, and especially in this country are so oppressed. It's because they are the true chosen people of the Most High God. They are the true Hebrew Israelites that are in another Egypt of America under a 400-year curse due to the disobedience of their forefathers, and that the Jews that we have thought have been fooled by are not the true chosen people, but they are what Revelations talks about as the imposters, Jewish, like something but not the real something. But our Hebrew Israelites of today are our so-called black brothers and sisters. And that answer finally came. I wasn't brainwashed, I wasn't coerced, I wasn't in a camp, but I was.
Wealth. It's a term that conjures up images of luxury cars, private jets, and sprawling mansions. But wealth is not just a snapshot of current assets and liabilities. It's a tapestry woven through time. And unfortunately for many racial groups, this tapestry has been riddled with holes and tears due to systemic racism. I am talking about the temporal dimension of wealth, a dimension that is often overlooked and underestimated. A dimension that is crucial to understanding the wealth gap between racial groups in our society. Let's break it down, shall we? Just as compound interest can grow an investment over time, systemic racism compounds the disadvantages faced by marginalized groups. It's like a snowball rolling down a hill, picking up more and more snow as it goes. Each generation that encounters barriers to wealth accumulation adds another layer to the wealth gap. The interest accumulates in the form of lost educational opportunities, diminished property values, and stunted business growth. And as the saying goes, the rich get richer and the poor get poorer. But in this case, it's not just about individual wealth, It's about the wealth of entire communities and generations. Let's take a trip down memory lane, back to a time when Jim Crow laws and redlining were the norm. These discriminatory practices systematically restricted access to wealth-building opportunities for people of color. And while they say these laws may no longer exist, their effects are still felt today. The wealth gap is not just about individual effort, it's about how systemic racism shapes the playing field. The myth of meritocracy has been shoved down our throats for too long. The idea that hard work and talent alone determines economic success is a pervasive lie that ignores the structural barriers that are in place. The American dream, often touted as a beacon of hope and opportunity, is not just a lie for the average American, it is especially a lie for people of color. The playing field is not level, and it never has been. But hey, don't just take my word for it, let's look at some numbers. According to a report from the Institute for Policy Studies, the median wealth of white families in the United States is nearly 10 times that of black families and 8 times that of Latinx families. And this gap widens even further when we look at the wealth of the top 1%. In today's society, it's no secret that the distribution of wealth is far from equal. In fact, it's more lopsided than a drunk giraffe on stilts. And while many factors contribute to this imbalance, one of the most significant players is government policy. From tax codes to inheritance laws and social welfare programs, government policies have the power to either exacerbate or alleviate the wealth gap. And let's be real, when it comes to racial wealth distribution, the scales are tilted so far in one direction that they might as well be in a parallel universe. But why does this matter? Well, the answer is simple: systemic racism. You see, policies that fail to consider the racial wealth gap reinforce this insidious form of discrimination. And I don't know about you, but I'm tired of seeing my fellow human beings held down by a system that was never designed to lift them up. Let's take a closer look at some of the ways government policies impact wealth distribution and the ripple effects it has on our society. First up, tax codes. Now, I'm no math whiz, but it doesn't take a genius to see that the wealthy are getting away with paying less in taxes than a college student living off of ramen noodles. And who is most affected by these loopholes? You guessed it, marginalized communities. This not only widens the wealth gap, but also reinforces the false narrative that the rich are somehow more deserving of their wealth than the rest of us peasants. Next, we have inheritance laws. While the idea of leaving behind a legacy for your loved ones is heartwarming, the reality is that it perpetuates the cycle of wealth concentration within certain groups. And most of us don't have a trust fund waiting for us when our great aunt twice removed kicks the bucket. In fact, for many families of color, inheritance laws only serve to widen the racial wealth gap, leaving them with even fewer resources to build generational wealth. And let's not forget about social welfare programs. While these programs are intended to provide a safety net for those in need, they often fall short when it comes to addressing the racial wealth gap. These programs are not designed to consider the historical and systemic barriers that have hindered the accumulation of wealth for marginalized communities. As a result, they do little to close the gap and can even perpetuate the harmful stereotypes that people of color are lazy and dependent on government handouts. The impact of wealth disparity goes beyond just economics. It's a psychological issue as well. The constant stress and anxiety associated with financial instability can have long-term effects on mental health. It's like a never-ending game of Monopoly, except there are no get-out-of-jail-free cards for those at the bottom. And let's not forget the social dynamics that are influenced by the perception of economic disparity. It can lead to tension and resentment between racial groups, further perpetuating the cycle of division and discrimination. But perhaps the most alarming ripple effect of wealth inequality is its impact on community resources, educational opportunities, and even political power. The concentration of wealth in certain groups leads to a cycle of privilege that perpetuates systemic racism and inequality. It's like a vicious cycle that keeps spinning and spinning with no end in sight.
So this is all I got, and I love his sincerity, and you all already know how it's been spinning, going back and forth and all that. But this is something they always refuse to acknowledge. I am glad that some of them already knew how it works, the system, and how they tag my people lazy and all that, when they are the ones perpetrating so many things and some certain things, and you all see how wealth, I don't even know if I need to explain all this to us, but it's not only black people that watch this channel. There are also so many white people who also come here to listen, because I see some of their comments and all that. I mean, it's really amazing how some of them sit back in their houses and tell you that there is nothing like what is it called? That there is nothing like systemic racism, or there is nothing like them being privileged and all that. And then they sit back and tell us that black people eat a lot from government handouts and all that. But when you check around and you see that they even benefit more. I mean, then they sit back and say that my black people are lazy. And each time I hear that black people are lazy, I always think that why is it that I think there is a video that sorry to digress. There is a video that I posted some days back about an Asian woman talking about how colored people used, or the government also used immigrant and all that to take away jobs from black people and the rest of it. Number one is that most times when they give job to black people and all that, they do not pay them equally with their colored white counterpart, right? They pay them lesser, right? So most times when they give the job to black people and black people advocate for equal pay or better wage and all that, they say that black people are not willing to work and the rest of it, and then they move around to give the job to immigrants and all that, which they do at a cheaper rate and all that. I don't think this is new, but to some people it is new, but this is what has been happening for a longer time and all that. And then when black people say that they are not going to do the job, and they say that black people are lazy. See, I don't think I have ever heard or seen where they say black people are really very hardworking people. I am an African woman, and I see how hard not just only the men, but men and women are ready, to really work so hard to put food on the table and all that. We are hard workers. So if anybody wakes up to tell me that black people are lazy and all, I look at them twice, because all I know is that the person is lying and all that. So the way money flows in the community, or the way money flows from the palm color to other community and all that, is not the same way it flows in black community, because there are so many constraints that is restricting the money from flowing all around. And you all know, because they are well privileged and all that, so it is easier, way much easier for them to excel more in the community, in anywhere and all that. Even a job and all that, you see black people are probably training colored people, and in the end, the people that train, you can imagine training somebody, and the person you train is getting more pay than you. All these are the things, the economic, the social, and all that. They are the things you look at, and you kind of know that the privilege is it's really way too much, and also the system is also not designed to favor people that look like me so much. So the system is designed to put them down, and I don't know how to make them feel stuck and all that. That's why if you look around, you are also going to know that a black person work double or multiple, 3 times, tries and all that harder than their white counterpart, because they really have to work a lot to meet up and all that. So yeah, let me know what you all think in the comment section, and see you all in my next video. Bye for now.